I'm gonna get paper.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Before we get started, you will need paper, pen, and your calendar today for this. So you've got a few minutes, about 4 minutes before we get started. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Those of you just coming in, we're going to get started in about 3 more minutes. So if you can get some paper and a pen in your calendar, that would be great. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us, those of you coming in. You still have some time to get some paper, pen in your calendar. Hi, everyone. Welcome. We're going to go ahead and get started. So hopefully you were able to get a paper and a pen or pencil and your calendar, we're going to be using that today. And this is the Setting Boundaries workshop. It's part of our Mindful Monday series. So thank you for joining us. Sherry, can you go ahead and click, please?
Yeah, I was just moving.
So your guest speaker today is Sherry Patterson. She's a member of our Instructional Leadership Corps, and she's going to be talking to us about setting boundaries. And I'm sure she'll tell you all about her different certifications, but she's the perfect person to be talking about this today, and I'm very excited to have her. This webinar, go ahead and keep clicking, is part of our Distance Learning Support Series, and we had an entire set of Mindful Mondays. We started the beginning of fall, and we're ending on December 21st. So our next 3 webinars are Laughter as a Self-Care Strategy, Coping with Anxiety, which Sherry will be back for that, and then Gratitude on December 21st. So I hope you will tell your friends and you'll be able to join us on our other workshops. And with that, we're going to go ahead and get started.
So, hi, I'm Sherry Patterson Lanza. I formerly was a director of the Family Resource Center for my school district, and have a lot of training in trauma-informed practices and compassion fatigue and family issues. But I'm also was the student discipline positive school culture director. I had many hats. It was a small school district. So I'm trying to get there. Oh, back to there. So our agenda today on setting boundaries, it's basically the why, the what, and the how. So just kind of going over a little bit of why they're so important, kind of talk about what are good boundaries to have, and how to respectfully set boundaries, because sometimes you don't want to come across as too aggressive, but you need to be firm. So we're going to talk about those kinds of things. A centering exercise, we'll just do this for a couple of minutes just to get our thoughts focused and kind of let everything from the day go away into the background for now, so you can focus. So I want you to look around the room that you're in, find 3 objects that are in the same color family, and you all know your rainbow colors, but you could choose another off color if you want. And so what are the 3 objects? You might want to write them down and think of something that you like about all 3 of those objects, just something that makes you feel positive and good about those 3. So I'm going to give you 3 minutes, well, maybe 2.5 minutes. Anyway, I'll be looking at the clock and go for it. Okay, if you have finished, you can still keep going if you need to, but if you have finished, if you would, I've got 3 people or 2 people put chats on where they were, how they were here, and maybe you could put a chat in there, say your name, well, your name would come up, where you're from, anything else you want to do to say hello to all of us at this great day. So go ahead and use the chat feature. You can also in the chat say maybe what color you chose and maybe something about the objects that you like. You can just give me a reflection in the chat right now if you'd like. Thank you, Coral from Vacaville. So Cynthia, Maria, Nadia, Monica, Gabrielle, Pamela, Trinidad, yay. Ms. G. Oh, Marilyn. Jennifer, Wilton, Kim. Hello, Carmen. Griselda. Hello, Maria from Orange. You're not too far from, oh, Orange is your color. I was thinking of Orange County. Okay. Suzanne, Katrina, Krisha, Carmen. Oh, look at your colors. The blue family, Jessica, Cynthia. I have a question too. Okay. That's awesome. Okay, so it looks like that's so funny. Everybody's not everybody. A lot of people are picking orange, salmon. That's interesting. It's such a vibrant color. Awesome. Okay. So I'm glad I've got you guys all kind of focused in, letting go of things that might be troubling you for right now or things that have happened today so we can move forward. So I'm moving on to why boundaries are important. They're to meet our needs, all of our needs as educators and for students also, for even their families. They're also to protect yourself. You need to have protections to make sure that you don't fall into compassion fatigue or stress or burnout, which might be coming up later on in another Mindful Monday. It's also to help you guide acceptable behaviors. It's easier, well, maybe it's easier and different in the classroom than it is virtually, but I guess some of the challenges virtually we're dealing with now. So we need to help guide acceptable behavior for our students mostly and their families, and to create mutually respectful relationships. I think, what was it? We did a SEL Healthy Happy Hour about a month ago, and we talked about creating relationships with students. So how important that is. Boundaries help with that. And then to establish a caring atmosphere. You know, we all know that students perform better when they feel like they're being appreciated and cared for. So this is our first little activity. Going to go on. I want you to take your paper and pencil and also your calendar and write down what would be to you the most important reason why you want to set boundaries. Just you could have one or two. I have a spider or something crawling on my head. Okay, I got it. Anyway, so what would be your best reason, your most important reason why, and then write it down. Come up with what it is, and if you can, think of somebody that you can share it with that will help keep you focused and remember that boundary. So it might be your best friend, it might be your spouse, it might be a coworker that you trust to help you out. Anyway, go ahead. I'll give you another minute to figure that out, or a couple minutes. Okay, we'll go on. If any of you, I just went back and read all of your objects and the colors. It was really good, insightful thoughts that you guys had. Made me feel happy just looking at them. If you would like to, you could also in the chat box write down an important reason. If you want to, if you write it down and you want me to, I can contact you later to see if you're staying focused, if you have any issues or any questions, or you just wanted to share your great important reason. So anyway, go ahead and you can type those in the chat box. Yeah. Yeah, I love it. You guys are hitting the nail on the head with these. It's so easy for us to neglect our own needs. We're such caring people. Yeah, it is hard to say no. I can tell you that. I say yes more often than no. Oh, good job, you guys. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next slide, which is what are good boundaries to have? Basically, you kind of hit the nail on the head with that one. Setting reasonable times for work hours. It's so easy working at home doing the distance learning to just see your work right there in your home and just sit down and do it at all hours, or you wake up in the middle of the night and you see it and you, oh, I've got to finish this, or I don't know, just it's crazy. It's so much easier when it was in the classroom. You could shut the door, go home and leave it behind. So it's a good reason to have some boundaries. Schedule time for helping your students and parents. A lot of parents are struggling right now, and I know you'd like to help them, but maybe if you set up an office hour or office hours when you're available for them to contact you and respect that your time is your time. And anyway, so that would be a good thing to do, is scheduling that. Also, stick to your rules. It's easy to say, oh, this one little time it doesn't matter. Well, it does. And just be flexible at a very minimum when you can afford to do it, but just really be frugal with your spare time or your time, not school time. Anyway, so try not to be too flexible about your time. Pace yourself. Make sure you always have breaks in your days, and don't negotiate with anybody else. If you're going to need a break, just take it. Just respect your boundaries. And take each day as a new, fresh beginning. It's so important to wake up in the morning and go, oh, I'm going to have a great day today, and be positive. It's really hard sometimes when you think of all that you have to do, but just say, hey, I'm going to get as much as I can get done, and we're going to solve the problems we can, and be positive as much as you can. So in that regard, what I want you to do for this next activity is to start a schedule to conference days and times for speaking with students and or parents, and set up your break time. So see if you can start coming up. You won't be able to finish it tonight, or you might be able to, but go ahead and do as much as you can right now. Get a start, kind of eyeball things, start thinking about things. What is your schedule? What's unique to your schedule that you need to work on? You can also start thinking of the separate rules that are different for distance learning, and write them down. What are some of the rules that maybe the topics you need to make, like, what do the kids need to look like? What do they need to be wearing? Do they need to be not eating, or do they need to be eating, or materials they need to get ready ahead of time? Just different rules for distance learning, and write them down so that first you're clear in your mind before you share them with your students and their families. And the other thing is, sometimes a lot of people enjoy, and I do, the gratitude journal. A lot of people do it at the end of the day, but I find doing it at the beginning of the day, in the morning before I get going, just sitting in bed, I have my little journal right there, and write down why this day is going to be such a wonderful, powerful day, and it's going to enrich me. Anyway, it's just a different twist on it, but you could do that. That's not for now, but that's something to think about. So anyway, go ahead and start writing your schedule. If there's anything that your ahas, or the most important thing you want to make sure that you schedule in time for yourself, you could write that in the chat. Tell me what you're going to do and how often or when in the day. Just kind of get me an idea so we can all see where we're all going. Anyway, I'll give you another 2 or 3 minutes for that. Okay, about another minute, and then we'll go on to the next slide. right. So lastly, how do we set respectful boundaries? How do we make sure that we're all covered, both sides, both parties, us and them? So first of all, you have to identify your most important goals and focus on the most important first, and try and not let all the outside stuff get in your way. But take into consideration the needs versus wants. What's the difference between them? You know, needs are very important. Wants, sometimes we can let those slide, or we can take those into consideration, but don't give them as much importance as our needs. Definitely always remain guilt-free and unapologetic. If you're trying to take care of yourself, there is absolutely no reason why you should be at all sorry about that. And you're also trying to respect others and set a good role model. So that's important. And remember to treat yourself with as much compassion as you would a baby or a small child. I mean, just think of yourself as precious as your children, and treat yourself like you're very precious, because you are. You definitely are. So I want you to write down your most important goal, and you need to do it somehow, so that, or write it down and post it somewhere, or put it in your calendar or somewhere, so you know all the time that it just pops up, and it becomes your mantra. You can see it all the time, just to keep that in the forefront. And then also, I want you to write down some things to show your self-compassion, and how you will treat yourself, how you care about yourself, how you take care of yourself, and all of your inner feelings. So anyway, see if you can write something down as a goal for how you're going to treat yourself in the future. Anyway, I'll let you get that written down for the next couple of minutes. Okay, another minute to start writing. And of course, you don't have to finish all of this today. I believe Karen's made available the PowerPoint or the slides. If not, we can, and you can use them to remind yourself and kind of finish some of this work right after we finish right now, while it's still fresh in your mind, or if you need to go, do it later.
We'll make them available with the recording, Sherry, but we can share them right now. I can grab the link and put it in the chat for you.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you, Karen. Okay, so to keep you on your 4 o'clock ending time, let's see.
I think we have a question from Coral, Sherry.
I'm looking at that right now. So can you clarify what types of goals you might be referring to, work or personal? I would say both. Maybe for sure your work, what's your goal? But also your personal. I mean, what's the most important thing to you as a person? Or maybe it's hard to say just one thing, but pick a really good one. Or you could just do as many as you want. You could do several if you want, but kind of rank them maybe. Okay, and thank you for putting the Google link on there, Karen. I see it on the chat. All righty, so we have 3 minutes left. Here's a reminder. So I think it's every 2 weeks. So 2 weeks from today, and well, maybe it's the 1st and 3rd. Looks like 1st and 3rd.
That's right.
Okay. So laughter is next. I can't wait for that one. I'm going to be in that one. And then all the coping with anxiety and gratitude will be great just before Christmas. But yes, I don't know, Karen, somebody wrote something about it's during Christmas break or winter break.
Yeah, unfortunately not my winter break, but we decided to end on the first day of winter, and we had started the season on the first day of fall, so it's a season of Mindful Mondays. That's just the way our calendar and fell in terms of our availability, but it will be recorded. So certainly if you are working on setting boundaries and you're not doing anything like, webinar related during your break, I completely understand. You can also tune in later. So yeah,
Right.
Thank you for pointing that out. And then we also have a bonus session next Monday. It's not through CTA specifically, it's through our Instructional Leadership Core. This time again, Monday will be our it'll be SEL strategies for families. So if you're interested in learning strategies that you can take back to use with students and families, that we will be sharing that next week in a little bit smaller format. So in breakouts and things like that.
Right. Okay, so just almost to end here. Here's my email address and my phone number. I would love to hear from you if you'd like to contact me either through email, text, or phone. If you have any questions, if you want to share anything that you learned, because I'm always loving to hear from other people how their lives are getting better and changing. And I think there's a question, Karen, is there a link to the previous Mindful Monday sessions? So get the recordings.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's on our CTA.org website. I'm going to post the link right now. So let me just get into that. We are still working on our website a little bit. So we're trying to find a specific place for the Mindful Monday series. But here's the link to our distance learning series. And we started with breath work. And that one is, I believe, yeah, well, it's not there anymore. If you guys go back to our Eventbrite page, though, you should find the one for breath work. And I think on that YouTube channel, we should have the entire series. We had it on breathing and then movement. And I'm trying to think of some of the other ones we've done. Meditation was one. So, yeah.
All right. The last slide, I went to these two websites to get some of the information. If you want to read any in depth anymore, what I just talked to you about, I kind of summarized it. Anyway, thank you all for being here. It's 4 o'clock on the dot, and have a great rest of your day. Good evening. We'll see you soon.